Well, greeting, friends. I am coming to you today from the War Room. This is where I spend most of my week here in the clinic, or in my office, I should say, which is also my clinic. So this is my home office, but friends, family, people from the community, as you can see, come in and get care. We'll probably see 60 people a week. This week, adjusted two brand new babies. So still having a lot of fun saving lives through chiropractic right here at home. The thing I want to focus on today is something that actually stressed me out last week that always stresses me out when I encounter it. And that is going in and I did an in-office evaluation and seeing how a clinic prepares for the shift. Because one of the things you want to really be thinking about at all times, no matter how you practice, how long you've been in practice, is a shift to me is like a game. So if we're going into a football game, we're going into a basketball game as a team, we're going into a volleyball match, we're about to step on the mat because we're a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu player or something, that we've got to be prepared for that encounter. And, one game, one inning, one quarter, one play at a time. And so as we get ready to go into a shift of chiropractic, what are we doing to be ready for that shift versus winging it during the shift? So we wouldn't go into a NFL Sunday football game where the other team's trying to murder us and it's on national television and there are millions of dollars at stake. And we would go in there with no playbook, no preparation, where we hadn't watched video of the other team, didn't have a game plan specific to how we're going to handle that particular individual game. You would never do that. If a coach did that, he would be fired on the spot. But yet that's how a lot of chiropractors go into a shift. It's how a lot of staff goes into a shift in a chiropractic clinic. In fact, it's more common to be unprepared than prepared. I've got a couple scenarios where I actually got stressed out that I want to share with you today. I actually had a client many years ago, amazing woman who was willing to donate her kidney to another chiropractic wife who she didn't even know that well, but they were a blood match. And so because she was willing to do that, I said, you know what, I'm going to go up and I'm going to work in your clinic while you're out in the hospital donating that kidney. So I went up, it was in Michigan, and they don't huddle. They don't prepare for shifts. And decent clinic, phenomenal chiropractor, but that, again, like most people, they don't huddle, they don't prepare. So I didn't know that. So because we certainly didn't teach that to our clients. So I get there like you're supposed to. I get to the clinic a half an hour before it starts and say, hey, can you share with me the people coming in for the shift? I'd like to take a look at that. And they're like, well, we don't have that. Like, you don't have that. Like, how do you guys get ready? So, well, we don't. So I said, so just as they come in, you decide what you're going to do. Like, yeah, that's so you don't even really know who's coming in for the shift necessarily. I said, yeah, no, we don't necessarily know who's coming in for the shift. I said, listen, are you nervous? Like, I'm nervous. Like, I'm worried. Like, what's about to happen to us? They said, yeah, we're nervous. We don't know what's about to happen to us. And sure enough, people are coming in and just that, oh, by the way, this person hasn't been here in 3 months. Oh, by the way, that person's missed their last 2 visits. Oh, by the way, this person needs a re-exam. Oh, by the way, Dr. Ben, do you know how to use our X-ray machine? Because this person needs new X-rays. And so it's just one unique scenario at a time. And on the fly, we're trying to figure it out. During that shift, I saw a fraction of the amount of patients I normally see in a given shift. Yet I was more busy, more stressed, more sweat than I ever would, seeing 3-4 times as many people in a shift as I did that day. So that preparation is everything. This most recent example, I went in again to try to figure out with this on-site training, what's happening here. Very busy office, very successful, unbelievably great chiropractor. He and his wife, two of the best people I know. I love them. They're like family, incredible Christian man and woman, and they're beloved in the community. So they get hundreds and hundreds of new patients per month It's unbelievable. But again, and they do huddle, but there's not a preparation for each of the people coming in and exactly what needs to be executed that shift. So a lot of it is, again, once the patient comes in, let's figure out what we're going to do with them at that point. And I sat back, I said, boy, doc, I'm freaking out just thinking about what you're saying. And I looked at the staff, I'm like, does this stress you guys out? And they're like, oh yeah, we're very stressed out. And I'm like, yeah, we're not even actually getting ready for a shift. We're just talking about it. And I am nervous about what's going to happen the next time you guys see patients. So let's talk about what it's supposed to look like. And you can certainly slice this a few different ways, but if you don't do it somewhat similar to what I'm talking about, you're literally walking into the Super Bowl. We actually have called this preparation the Super Bowl preparation because I had this revelation watching the Super Bowl many years ago as they showed the pregame, and they were working on their plays, blocking, tackling, executing plays before the Super Bowl. And I thought, well, here's a team that's been doing this since preseason mini camps. They've been working on these plays, practicing their basics. And this is Tom Brady and Bill Belichick at their peak. And yet here we are, 18 games later, despite all the preseason work and practicing 5 days a week and prepping for all those games, here we are all the way out to the Super Bowl, and you're just practicing your basics before the game starts. You're going through your game plan. You're running, again, you're blocking and tackling drills. You're just doing it like you've never done it before. We got to be ready for this one team. And that hit me that, wow, even that late in the game, even this deep in the season, even the fact that you got the two arguably most successful people in football working together in Belichick and Brady, you're going to get that ready for one game. Because why? It's the Super Bowl. The whole world is watching. So I believe when you go into a shift, this isn't football, you're saving lives. Not to mention your livelihood is on the line. The health and well-being and success of your staff is hanging in the balance. Your future, everything matters right now in this one shift. So how could we wing it? How could we just go flying in there? If you one metaphor we use, if you ever used to watch Starsky and Hutch back 100 years ago, they had this thing where when they were in a hurry, they jump across the hood of the car and go sliding across, and then the doors didn't even open. They just dive in the window, step on the gas, and take off. And I think about that with chiropractors getting to the clinic just as patients are rolling in. They're Starsky and Hutching it into the clinic, running in, patients already in the rooms. I'm like, oh my God, are you not ready? You're not ready mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. Your team's unprepared. What a nightmare. Everything's on the line. Whole world is watching. Lives are hanging in the balance, and we're not ready. So what should this look like? So first of all, even when I was seeing 2,000 a week and could have a particular day with 500 people on the books, they're on the books. So everybody in a clinic is always prepaid and pre-scheduled. And by prepaid, might be one check, might be that they're doing in 6 or 7 installments, but everybody's payments are set up and they're pre-scheduled. So that's how this starts. Just did a great interview with my brother, Dr. Eric, who has seen as many as 800 a week, but never with more than 1 or 2 staff members. For the last decade, he's had one team member, one person at the front. But as we talked in the interview about this, if they're prepaid and pre-scheduled, what do you need all that staff for? They don't even stop at the front desk. I mean, with most of your EHRs, come in, swipe your card, go to the back, you wobble, you warm up, go get adjusted, do your post-rehab, walk right back out the door, wave goodbye to the staff, and you're out of there. Unless it's a special like a re-exam or re-x-ray or something, re-sign, there's no reason for them to have any interaction at the front desk at all. So got maybe a dozen specials a day. Everybody else doesn't require staff at all. There's no reason that the staff is even there. In fact, you could probably get away with 0 staff if you set this up right, since 88% of the patients don't require staff. Many times, even at 2,000 a week, seeing a couple hundred people on a morning shift, I didn't have my staff come in. I'm like, let's just make sure none of the specials are scheduled. If one happens to come in, we'll just, I guess we'd have to, reschedule them for their next visit to do the special. So listen, we're going to do an early morning shift, the day after Christmas or something. You guys stay home. I got this. And 300 people come in and have zero need for the staff. Let the phone ring and go to the message machine. We'll follow up with that afterwards. Go see 300 people, no staff, and never thought for a second, oh no, I needed staff. That's how it needs to be set up. On the contrary, people aren't prepaid. They're not pre-scheduled. I've seen people seeing a couple hundred a week with the need for 2, 3, 4 staff because you're constantly scheduling, constantly answering the phone, constantly collecting money, trying to hunt people down, or they're disappearing, because that's what they do. If they're not prepaid and pre-scheduled, they disappear. You get these 60, 70% show up rates. It's just, whatever happened to the Smiths. We don't even know, when they were supposed to have been in last because they weren't pre-scheduled. And one thing I'll mention about that, most patients, when you say we need to schedule out your whole care plan, could be 3 months, could be 12 months, say, I can't or I won't. And we let them know, listen, we would never put your health at risk. Let me repeat that again because it's a very important, powerful script. We would never put your health at risk by not having you in the plan, in the schedule, and helping to manage your case. We would never do that to you. So we put you in there, even if you're uncertain that you can make it, and we can always reschedule it. That's not a problem. We just need to make sure we've done our job to save your life by managing your case appropriately and having you in the schedule to try to keep you on track for your health and to heal your condition. So you, it's about them. That's why we must get you in the schedule. It's not breaking our rules. It's for you. So everybody, that's where this all starts. So that at the shift, getting back to huddle, we have everyone that's supposed to come in is in the schedule. And then personally, I always print it out. Some people actually just go and they'll meet in front of the computer screen so they can all see the schedule on the screen. Some people have a large enough staff where it's on the flat screen television that they're looking at it. However you want to do it, we look at who's coming in. And what I always do, I get there 30 minutes before a shift. And I look at every single person that's coming in. They should be scheduled if they have a special, it should already say re-exam or re-x-ray or whatever that special might be. But I also might see somebody that say, hey, listen, we need to do a wellness review with that person. They've been missing and on a call list, or this person's off track. We need to set up a special appointment with them just to do a check-in or an extra re-exam, something to get them back on track. I might say, hey, when Bill and Mary comes in, make absolutely certain they're coming to the dinner or the next advanced talks. They just really don't get chiropractic. But I make sure we're ready. So if there's 300 people, 100 people, 10 people coming in, I'm ready for each and every one of them, even though, again, 80% of them, 90% of them, there's nothing necessarily special. But I like to have even seen their name because even psychically, I'm ready. And I'm working with another clinic, and the practitioner never looks at who's coming in, never. So in talking to the staff, they have multiple disastrous occurrences every shift out of just sheerly not being ready for the patients. And by disaster, anything from a mess up in the treatment where it's not even quality care. There's actually a lack of integrity based on how we're actually dealing with that person. Or we just missed something, or we didn't prepare even to ask about their family and getting them in. We're not ready to even ask for a referral. I always have 3 or 4 people that I see on the list that I tell my staff, listen, when they come in, we've still not seen their husband or wife. We've still never checked their kids. Make sure when they come in, that's it. Today, we get them scheduled. We're ready. When Bob walks in, we're ready. We're getting Bob's wife on the books. We're getting Bob's kids in the books. We're ready for Bob versus winging it. Bob walks in. Oh my God, that's right. Bob, want some candy? Hey, I need some water. We never checked your spout. Like, we're just not ready. And so obviously we're going to stink. But if I'm ready for Bob, I've even thought through what I'm going to say, how I'm going to put my foot down. I'm ready for Bob. I'm going to get that referral from Bob today. So I always tell people, if I go to your office based on my preparation alone, I'm going to quadruple your referrals. I'm going to get 100 referrals this month for you if I went there, because simply by the fact that I'd be ready and have a strategy every shift as to how I'm going about 1, 2, 3, 4 people and getting that referral from them. because if you wing it, it's lame. You're just not ready. You're Tom Brady just going, hey, receiver, just go long, like that. Like that's how we're approaching the Super Bowl. Just go long. I'll try to hit you. No, we execute a play. We're ready. Last piece with the huddles and preparation is your team's not with you. You realize every lunch break, every weekend, every evening, something has pulled your team off purpose. They are not ready. That example of that clinic I did an in-office in last week, I had a chance before we started the meeting to meet with the staff, and they've got nothing but personal problems. They've got nothing but issues with the clinic, with the doctor. There's challenges to this thing called life. Nobody, and I mean nobody, doctor included, shows up every shift or even any shift ready to play ball, ready to win. They got other things they're thinking about, and they might not even be bad things. They got a new puppy. Their next door neighbor had a baby. I mean, whatever the thing is, they just built a new house. Whatever the thing is, good or bad, that's where their brain is. So the huddle's designed to get them back here with me. So part of being prepared for a shift is I've got something I'm going to share with them, a Bible scripture, a testimonial, something powerful about chiropractic, something more about what they're trying to do to our loved ones and our patients relative to mandates and COVID vaccines. I've got something to recenter the staff, something to also give them to even just be talking to the patients about, to keep the patients fired up, that gets us recentered, create something that you would call emotional valence. There's one to write down. Emotional valence is the power in the room. Am I on fire, or am I just getting through the shift? So something that we say is we don't get through the shift, we get from the shift. We've re-engaged patients. We've gotten referrals. We've set patients on fire, gotten more people on mission, strengthened their commitment to chiropractic in this office. We can only get there with being prepared. And finally, after I've done that, we always finish with a prayer. And it's a prayer that includes praying for each of the individual people on my staff, praying for any issues maybe they're having, praying for all of us to be reconnected to our source, to God, for the Holy Spirit to arrive in this office, for this to be not just a shift, but the greatest shift we've ever had in this office. In fact, the most powerful chiropractic shift in history is about to occur. Healings are going to happen. Miracles are going to occur. New patients are going to come flowing in. Dollars are going to arrive. The whole team is going to be blessed by the next 2.5 hours, 3 hours in this clinic. And that's every single solitary time, because, again, it's the Super Bowl, only better. In the Super Bowl, they're throwing a leather ball around filled with a certain amount of air to win a game. But in our case, everything's on the line. So let's be prepared. Let's huddle. Let's execute. Let's be ready. Your team will thank you for it. Bless you guys, and remember who you are.